Hi, today what I'm going to be doing is talking about the do's and don'ts of using alcohol inks in resin. Now, I know a lot of people use alcohol inks in resin and absolutely love it. Personally, I'm not a lover of alcohol inks in resin, not because I don't like the effect that they give, because I think they give some absolutely beautiful effects. My biggest issue with them is they're not particularly colour fast, and if they're put outside or left out in too much light, then they fade and the colours just dissipate really, really quickly. And I think you've got disappointed customers and you've got disappointed people that you've given it to. However, that doesn't mean people don't use them, and I've been asked so many times to do a video on this. And recently my members have been asking me a lot to do a video on this. So I said yes I would, but I'll do one on the do's and don'ts. So how to prevent getting the sticky stuff on the top, how to get it to blend in, and how to get swirls with your alcohol inks. The alcohol inks I'm going to be using today are the Pinata ones, and the reason is I think they're good quality, they're nice and concentrate, and the white is excellent for doing this sort of thing with. Now I'm going to be using this heart mould, although it isn't really a very deep mould, and I do think that the deeper moulds work slightly better, so it could have done with being a little bit deeper. Well, I've also used this cabochon mould, which is slightly deeper as well, to show you the effects that you can get in a slightly deeper mould. And I've poured my resin in and let it sit for about 5 minutes to completely degas as well. And now I'm just, as you can see, dropping in the alcohol inks. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some quite overloaded pieces here. That means I'm going to put quite a lot of alcohol ink in, just to show you really what happens. And at this point I'm trying as well to get that sticky residue that happens on the top, and you'll see how that works out in a little while. So again, I'm dropping the neat alcohol inks into the resin and using a variety of different colours throughout as well. One of the really important things that you must remember whenever using alcohol inks is that you can't use a torch or a lighter on top of this afterwards. Now, I know a lot of people would say, well, that's just common sense. It's got alcohol in it, it's going to catch fire. But I have spoken to and I've read about people that have done that, and they've set their mould on fire and then a bit of paper near them, and it's just not good. Okay, it's just really not good. The other thing is always still wear a mask and the appropriate PPE as well whenever you're using alcohol inks in resin. And what alcohol inks in resin will do as well, it will change your resin. So if you have got a heat resistant resin or any types of resin like that, it will affect that. I'd just like to say a quick thank you to all my members whose names are coming up now. We're running a membership scheme at the moment where we are looking at how to set up a small business, and this week's live stream for members will all be about the pros and cons of things like Etsy, eBay and Shopify, and how to get the best out of them. So again, I'm putting in the white, and now it's the white that actually creates the effect that allows it to draw the alcohol inks down, and that is really, really useful, and you get a great effect. And as you can see here, I am loading these up as heavy as I possibly can, going through with different colours. And if you'd like to buy me a coffee just to say thank you for all my videos and help support this channel and get your name on my coffee board, the link for that is in the description below. And one of the other things as well, and I know I've already mentioned this with alcohol inks, is that they do fade really quickly. They are just not colour fast at all. And I know this from doing pictures. I know this from using them in resin previously. You know, if you leave them out on the side, or if you've made earrings and people wear them a lot outside, they are going to fade, and they are going to fade really, really quickly. And that as well can be quite problematic. So filling these up again with a little bit more white. I love the look of this pattern, and I do absolutely adore when it's fresh the look of alcohol inks in resin. I think they're beautiful, but like I said before, it will change the consistency of things, and if you've got heat resistant resin, it's no longer going to be heat resistant to the same levels. If you add too much alcohol ink to your resin, it isn't going to cure. And if you've also got something that is considered to be food tolerant resin, so resin that can take incidental drops of food, then again, this will change that. So, you know, be very careful what you're selling or what you're saying your resin can do once you've put alcohol inks in them. And that applies to quite a few additives as well. It's not just alcohol ink. So again, I'm popping on the white to get as much effect as I possibly can with these pieces. The other thing I find with alcohol inks are that they can be a little bit messy as well, and you know, be careful when you're using them and breathing these fumes in and anything like that. So even if you're not using it in resin where you've got the correct PPE in, I would always say wear a mask, because it is alcohol vapor that you're breathing in. I love this effect. Look at this effect where it draws down the alcohol inks, and it almost looks quite alien where it's moving around. So I've now left these for about 3/4 of an hour just to firm up a little bit, and it will depend on the temperature that you're got in your studio, or the temperature of the resin and the type of resin you're using. And I leave it that long to allow it to firm up a little bit so that I can mix in the alcohol inks if you're looking for like a swirly feather effect. If you're going for the swirly feather effect, then I would suggest that you use a lot less alcohol ink than I've used here, because you will get a clearer distinction and less blending of the colours. But it is actually the fact that I did do this stirring, and you'll see this at the end, is why I didn't get that sticky residue on the top, because actually what I've done is I've mixed in the alcohol ink into the resin, and that sticky residue is caused by the surface area of your resin not being able to cope with the volume of alcohol inks that you've put onto it, and as a result it just doesn't cure up properly. Now you can overcome that by adding some more resin to the top, or a bit of UV resin, and that will then cure up and stop it being sticky. So again, I go in with this toothpick, but I don't go all the way down to the bottom of the mould for two reasons. I don't want to push this alcohol ink too far down, but also I don't want to scratch this mould, and this was a brand new mould as well. And you know, toothpicks will scratch your mould if you're not careful. And also I do quite a vigorous and a lot of swirling. If you only want a little bit of swirling and a little bit of feathering, then just don't swirl it as much. It is a bit of trial and error, and that's what I find a lot with alcohol inks. It is trial or error, and you cannot really repeat the same effect every time. And now what I'll do is I'll leave these to cure. These have all cured up, and they've all cured up nicely, despite the fact that I was trying to overload them so I could get that sticky residue that sometimes comes on the top when you use alcohol inks. And that is because you've got too much alcohol ink in there. There's too much on the top, and it hasn't really mixed with the resin. Now, there are ways that you can get over that, which is what I was hoping to show you. And really, what you can do is you can put some UV resin over it, clear, cure that, or do a thin layer of normal resin over it and let that cure up. And then that will, you'll find, absolutely allow that to get rid of all that stickiness. So let's undo these and see what happens. And the colours have stayed quite good this time. Sometimes they overblend in them. And these have come out quite pretty. If we look at that one has come out really nicely. And the colours have come out and worked really well on that one. And the heart as well. And as I said, the larger ones, the moulds aren't quite deep enough. And as a result, you do get sometimes this white that goes down to the bottom. And if it was a slightly deeper mould, it wouldn't have gone all the way down to the bottom. That one has come out lovely. I'm really pleased with the way that one's come out. I think that one's come out very, very pretty. And that one. And it is, again, because they are slightly deeper moulds. So overall, these have come out really well. Again, my issue with alcohol inks is not how pretty they come out when you first use them, because they do come out really, really pretty. My issue with them is the fact that a lot of the time, what you'll find with alcohol inks is they are just so not colour fast, and as a result, the colours fade really, really quickly. And if I remember, I'll put these somewhere and I will come back to this in about 3 or 4 months' time and show you what I mean. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this little whistle-stop tour of using alcohol inks in resin. There are definitely some benefits if you want a short-term, really pretty piece. But, you know, it's entirely up to you, really, what you want to do with them. Please boop that like button if you found this video useful or interesting. It really does help my videos to get out there. If you'd like to buy me a coffee, or if you'd like to find the links of any of the products that I've used, they're all in the description below. All you need to do is click the show more or the little down arrow underneath the video, and that'll open up the description. Take care, enjoy your resin, bye.